So we have this matrix here that we're supposed to find the inverse of. So we're supposed to find the inverse of matrix A here. So the method we're going to use today is not the method where we have to find the determinant. Instead, we're going to do elementary row operations. So what we mean here is we have this matrix A that we have here. Then we introduce an identity matrix, which is a 3 by 3 this side, and then we convert the matrix that we have here into an identity matrix. Then the new matrix that we have this side is going to be the inverse of A here. Right. Let's start here. We're going to write this matrix the way it is here. So we have 1, 1, 1, 2, 5, 0, 2, 5, negative 1 here. Then we'll put a dotted line here on the middle here. Now, since A here is a 3 by 3, means that this side here we're going to write a 3 by 3 identity matrix here. So we have 1, 0, 0 here, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1 like this here. Now, our goal here is to convert this side of the matrix that we have here into an identity matrix, and this side here is where we're going to obtain the inverse from. So what do we do here to make this here? We know that for an identity matrix of a 3 by 3 here, we have 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1 like this here. So the first entry here is a 1. So now, meaning that these two here are zeros, so meaning that here we're supposed to have a 0 here and a 0 there. So what do we do here? We're going to say that the second row here, row 2 here, will go to row 2 minus 2 row 1 here, meaning that here we have 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. So we write the first row the way it is because we're not doing anything with it there. Now, the second row, what this means here is that we're going to be saying every entry that we have here is going to be, we're going to be subtracting 2 by the entry that we have in row 1 here. So meaning that here, 2 minus 2 multiplied by 1 here, we're going to get a 0 here, like this here. Then here, we have 5 minus 2 multiplied by the 1 that we have on top here. So 5 minus 2 are going to get a 3, so we write our 3 here like this. Then the next one is 0 minus 2 multiplied by the entry that we have on top of 0 here, which is 1. So we're just going to get a negative 2 here. Then the next part again here, we have a 0 minus 2 times 1 here, we get a negative 2 here. Then the next part, 1 minus 2 by 0, so we get 1. Then here, 0 minus 0, there we're going to get a 0 like this here. Then for the third row here, we're simply going to do the same thing because we have a 2 here, so converting this into a 0, this has to be a 2, then we subtract. So simply just going to say row 3 will be equal to row 3 minus 2 multiplied by row 1, meaning that here you're going to have 2 minus 2 multiplied by the first entry that we have here is 1, so this will give us a 0 here. So here we're going to have a 0 there. Then here the second entry that we have here is 5, so it's going to be 5 minus 2 times 1 here, so we're going to get a 3 here. Then here we have a negative 1, so we're going to say negative 1 minus 2 times 1, we're going to get negative 3 here, like this. Then here we have 0 minus 2, so we'll get a negative 2. Then here 0 minus 0, we get a 0 here. Then 1 minus 0, we get a 1 like that. Now, remember, we're still working with an identity matrix here. What do? We know that we have zeros there. So we have zeros here, and we have a 0 there. So we need the 1 here on the middle here, and zeros on top here. So let's convert the middle part here to be 1. So what do we do here? We can just simply say row 2 should be equal to 1 over 3 row 2 like this. So the main focus is just on this entry that we have here. We need to convert this into a 1 here, meaning that there we're going to write row 1 the way it is because we're not doing anything with it. So 1 1 1, then we have 1 0 0 here, then here we're going to have 0 1 here, then negative 2 divided by 3 here, we're going to get negative 2 over 3 like this here. Then negative 2 divided by 3 again, we get negative 2 divided by 3. Then we're going to have 1 over 3, and then we're going to have a 0 here. We can close our matrix this side. Then below here, we still have the numbers 3, negative 3, negative 2, 0, 1 like this here. Now, a 3 by 3 identity matrix here, I'll keep on writing it here so that I explain nicely. Like this here. Now, if you look at this matrix that we have this side here, we need to convert this side into an identity matrix. If you look at the second row here, the second entry here is a 1, so mean that we have this one here, which is there. Now, what do we do here? We need to convert now the first entry on the first row of the second column and the second entry on the third row here, meaning that here we're going to say row number 1, to convert that into a 0, should be equal to row 1 minus row number 2 here, so that when we say 1 minus 1, we're going to get a 0 there. Then we go to row number 3, should be equal to row 3 minus, so what can we do to get a 0 here? We can multiply this by 3, so 3 by 3, so 3 minus 3 should be 0 there, so we're going to say 3 row 2 here. Okay, so we do this like this, so we have 1 0 0 there. Then we know that we're not doing anything with row number 2, so just keep it the way it is, negative 2 over 3, negative 2 over 3, 1 over 2, 0 like this here. Okay, so we need entries for the first row and the bottom row there. Alright, so now here row number 1 should be equal to row 1 minus row 2 here. So 1 minus 0 here, we're just going to get the 1 that we have there. Then 1 minus 1 here, we're going to get 0. Then here we have 1 minus negative 2 over 3. So what we have there is 1 minus negative 2 over 3 here. So 1 minus negative 2 over 3, we're simply going to have 1 plus 2 over 3. Then that's going to be 5 over 3 like this here. So here we're going to have 5 over 3. Okay, so the same thing here, 1 minus 2 over 3, so that's going to be plus, so we're going to have 5 over 3 here, like this. Then here we have 0 minus 1 over 3, so we're going to get negative 1 over 3 here. Okay, then the last part here, 0 minus 0 here, we're just going to have a 0 like that. Alright, let's go to the third part here. So here we have row 3 should be equal to row 3 minus 3 row 2 here. So if we multiply this 1 by 3 and then we say 3 minus 3, we're going to get a 0 here. Then below here we're going to say negative 3 here. So negative 3 minus 3, negative 2 over 3 here. So this and this will cancel. Then we're going to have negative 3 plus 2, which will give us negative 1. So mean that our entry here is going to be negative 1. Then the next entry here, we have negative 2 minus 3 multiplied by row 2. So the entry we're using is this one here. So negative 2 over 3 like this. So this and this will cancel. We're going to have this and that there. They'll be positive. So negative 2 plus 2 here, we're going to get a 0 there. So Then we go to the next part here. So the next part here we have a 0. 0 minus 3. So 0 minus 3 multiplied by that, so we're going to have 0 minus 1 here. So we're going to have a negative 1 here. Then below here, we're going just to have 1 like this here. Alright. Now, if you look at what we have here, we have what we need on the first two columns that we have this set here. So how do we get zeros here and there? We're going to convert this negative 1 into a positive 1 so that we have 1 here as the last entry of the third column there. So what do we do? What can we do to convert this here? We can just multiply the third row here by negative 1. So we're going to say row 3 here should be equal to negative row 3 like this here. We multiply everything that we have below here by a negative there. So we're going to have 1, 0, 5 over 3. So we just write the first two rows the way they are because we're not doing anything with them for now. So we have 5 over 3 here, negative 1 over 3. Then we have a 0 there. We have 0, 1, negative 2 over 3. We have negative 2 over 3 here. So this is supposed to be 1 over 3. Then we have 1 over 3 here. And then we have a 0 there. Then below here we have 0, 0. If we multiply this by negative 1, by negative, it's going to be 1. We multiply 0 by negative, it's still going to be 0. We multiply this by negative here, it's going to be positive 1, and this is going to be negative 1 like this here. Alright, so now the next part now is we need to get zeros where there's 5 over 3 and 2 over 3 here. What can we do with the third row here? We can just simply say row number 1 should be equal to row number 1 minus 5 over 3 of row number 3 like this here. So that if you multiply this 1 here by 5 over 3 and then you say 5 over 3 minus 5 over 3, it should give us a 0 here. The same thing goes for row number 2 here. We're simply going to say row number 2 should be equal to row number 2, since this is a negative number that we have here, so we're going to say plus 2 over 3 of row number 3 here. Remember, our main focus are these two entries that we have here. We just need to convert this into zeros, then whatever is going to remain this side is going to be the inverse of the matrix that we have here. Okay, so once we do that, we're going to have 1, 0. Then here, 5 over 3 minus 1 multiplied by 5 over 3. So 5 over 3 minus 5 over 3, we're going to get a 0 here. So let me just write even this one here. So we have 0, 1. We'll get a 0 there as well. So we have 0, 0, 1 like this here. So we have our identity matrix this side. Now this side here, we're going to say 5 over 3 minus 0 here is still going to be 5 over 3 because on row 3 here we have a 0. So meaning that 5 over 3 minus whatever we're going to multiply with the 0 here will be 0. So meaning that here we have 5 over 3 like this here. Then here we have a negative 1. So negative 1 minus 5 over 3 like this here. So negative 1 minus 5 over 3. Oh, it's negative 1 over 3, sorry. So negative 1 minus 5 over 3. We make this a single fraction. We're going to have negative 1 minus 5 over 3 is going to be negative 6 over 3 here. I won't divide this for now. I'll keep it the way it is. So here we have negative 6 over 3. Then we go here. Now here we have negative, we have 0 here, minus, so we have a 0, minus, on the third entry here that we have below here on row number 3 here, or on the last entry that we have on row number 3 here, it's a negative 1. So we're going to say 5 over 3 multiplied by negative 1. So if we multiply by this here, we're going to simply just going to get 5 over 3 like this. So we can close this side here. Okay, So for the second row, we do the same thing. So here, if we say 2, we're using this now. So if we say negative 2 over 3 plus 2 over 3 multiplied by 0 here, we're simply just going to remain with the same negative 2 over 3 like this. Then on the middle here, we have 1 over 3. So 1 over 3 plus, below here we have a 1. So we're going to say 2 over 3 multiplied by 1 here. We add these two fractions here. You notice that we're going to have 1 plus 2 here, which will be 3 over 3 here. So I'm not going to write 1 here. I'll leave it as a fraction the way it is here. So we're just going to have 3 over 3 like this. So I'll leave it as a fraction for now. Then here we have a 0 here. So now we're going to say 0 plus, or let's say plus, so 0 plus 2 over 3 by negative 1 here. So this will just give us negative 2 over 3 here. So we have a negative 2 over 3 like this. Then below here we have 0, 1 and negative 1 like this. Now if you look at the what we wrote when we were starting here, we needed to convert this matrix here into an identity matrix, and then what we have on the right hand side becomes the inverse here, meaning that the inverse of A here, so the inverse of A is simply equal to this 3 by 3 that we have this side here, so which is 5 over 3, negative 6 over 3, 5 over 3, negative 2 over 3, 3 over 3 here, negative 2 over 3, 0, 1 and negative 1 here. Now if we don't want these fractions inside here, you can just factor out a 1 over 3. So meaning that if you factor out a 1 over 3 from everything that we have here, you have 1 over 3, open brackets, 5 minus 6, 5, negative 2, 3, negative 2, 0, 3, negative 3 like this. So this here is the inverse of matrix A using elementary row operations. Alright.